What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video, and today we are going to dive into Bestial Incantations. This is something I've been very curious about since I started playing Elden Ring over a year ago now, and this is the first time I've sat down and really built up a build to make them do a decent amount of damage, and I think this playstyle is going to be really fun for you as we get into this build. So this is going to be my Primal Paladin build. This is going to encompass all Bestial Incantations. You're going to have a little bit of an RP with the wolf helm that we're going to be wearing as well. We also have the dagger that's going to add to our Bestial Incantations and a few other things that are going to boost them as well. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's dive into the weapons real quick. We're going to be using the Cinquedea dagger. This is going to be a dagger that is going to boost your Bestial Incantations. Although it doesn't say it under passive effects, when you click on the actual description of the dagger, it's going to show you that it does raise the potency of your Bestial Incantations. So we can gather from that it's going to make our Bestial Incantations a lot stronger, as well as be a really hard-hitting dagger with a strength and dexterity attribute scaling. You can get this pretty early within Elden Ring in Caelid over by the Bestial Sanctum, but I have a short for that, so I'll leave that in the description below so you guys can follow that if you would like to. This dagger has a physical attack of 240 plus 148 at plus 10, and it also has quick step as its Ash of War, which is going to be really key in how we're going to play this build. A lot of these incantations that we are going to be using are very quick, so being able to quick step in and out, get a few dagger hits, back off, and then get some incantations off is really going to be how we're going to play this build. And I'm really glad that I picked this up because it is going to boost those Bestial Incantations by 10%, so that's a really nice damage boost on top of the excellent damage it has as a dagger. And one of the best things about the damage boost that this dagger is going to give us for our Bestial Incantations is that it stacks on top of the Claw Mark Seal, which we're going to be using in our offhand. This also is going to boost your incantations. It's going to have a strength scaling of B and a faith scaling of B as well. The Claw Mark Seal Bestial Incantation boost that we are going to get from this is going to be another 10%. So we are going to have a 10% damage boost from our dagger, 10% damage boost from this, 20% damage boost in total for our Bestial Incantations is a great sounding deal to me. Now for our offhand dagger, when we're not casting incantations, we're going to be using the Blade of Calling. This is going to have a physical damage of 163 plus 74 and holy damage of 99 plus 68. This is not necessary since we don't really need holy damage at all with this build, but at the same time it's good to have nonetheless. The strength scaling is going to be D, the dex scaling is going to be C, and the faith scaling is going to be B. So because we are going to be a faith and strength build, having the faith scaling on this weapon is really nice to get some extra damage out that we need. With the strength attribute requirement of 6, a dex attribute requirement of 13, and a faith attribute requirement of 15, this doesn't take very much to wield, but you're not going to get it until almost the very end of the game, so I wouldn't worry about getting this dagger right away, but it is a nice dagger to have paired up with this build. When it comes to our armor, we are going to be using the Black Wolf Mask. This is pretty much as bestial as you can possibly get within this game, so I went ahead and equipped this mask. If you want something with a little bit more armor on it, you can use it, but for the RP version of this build, you're definitely going to want to equip the Black Wolf Mask. For the chest piece, we're using this scaled armor. For the gloves, we're going to be using the Bloodhound Knight gauntlets, and for the feet, we're going to be using the scaled greaves. And all of this wrapped with our first talisman is going to give us 88 poise, which is really going to keep us from getting knocked out of our incantations when we're casting them, and overall going to keep us safe when we're going in and out of our boss battles and NPC fights in Elden Ring. So let's move on into the talismans here. We're going to be using in our first talisman slot the Bull Goat's Talisman, and the reason for this is because it is very easy to get knocked out of some of these longer casting incantations that we're using, so I went ahead and equipped the Bull Goat Talisman, which is going to raise our poise by 33%. This is going to help stack with our armor's poise, giving us that total of 88 like I mentioned before, but overall this is just going to be a really nice quality of life talisman for us to use because we're going to be darting in and out. We're going to be very close to bosses. Also, when we do take damage, we're not going to stagger as hard, so this overall is a great choice for this build. If you want to get this talisman for yourself, you need to go to Dragonbarrow Cave, which is a dungeon in Caelid, and you're going to sneak past a rune bear, and it's just going to be sitting right there on the ground for you. So if you can get past that rune bear undetected, this will probably be one of the easiest talismans you can get in the game. And for talisman number 2, we're going to be using the Faithful's Canvas Talisman. This is going to raise the potency of our incantations by 4%. This is a nice little incantation boost, and we're going to pair it with another talisman here in just a second that's going to raise that incantation boost even farther, but that's why I chose this one. I have found that if you do want to use a little bit more dagger play in this build, you can swap this out for something like the Rotten Winged Insignia, but I've chosen to use the Faithful Canvas Talisman here because I want that extra incantation damage, because typically Bestial Incantations do not hit for very hard. And if you want to snag the Faithful Canvas Talisman, it's going to be in Celia Crystal Tunnel Dungeon, located on a corpse guarded by 2 of the lesser Kindred of Rot Pests enemies. And talisman number 3 is going to be the Faithful Canvas Talisman. This is also going to raise the potency of our incantations, but on a greater scale. We are going to get an 8% incantation boost instead of a 4% like the Faithful Canvas Talisman gave us. So the cool thing about this though is that they stack, so we'll actually be getting a 12% damage boost to our incantations, which is really nice for this build. This talisman can be found from Gowry after you kill him at the end of Millicent's questline. I do have a video for that, so I'll leave that link down in the description, and you'll also see a little icon in the top right that you can click on if you want to see exactly how to get that. Now for our 4th and final talisman, we're going to be using the Godfrey icon. Now the reason we're going to be using the Godfrey icon is because 2 of our really big incantations are chargeable, and the Godfrey icon is going to give us a attack power boost of our charged skills and spells by 15%, which is a really nice chunk of damage when it comes to the incantations that we are using. So that's why I chose the Godfrey icon. You can get this talisman at the Golden Lineage Everjail in Altus Plateau. If you just run south of the Erdtree Grazing Hill Grace underneath of the road, you'll come out and it's sitting right there. Defeat the enemy there and he'll drop for you this legendary icon. And before we get into our incantations, we're going to look at our Flask of Wondrous Physick. We are going to be using the Strength Knot Crystal tier, which is going to temporarily boost our strength by 10, which is going to give us more damage of our incantations that scale well with our Clawmark Seal. And then we're also going to be using the Faith Knot Crystal tier, which is going to give us another boost of 10, but to our faith. So this is a really nice stat boost for us, giving us a lot more damage overall. And if you want to find the Strength Knot Crystal tier, you're going to go to the Storm Hill Shack site of Grace, and you're going to run up and to the right, and it's going to be sitting on a cliffside right there for you. You can just snag it. And if you want to grab the Faith Knot Crystal tier, it'll be located right behind the Demi-Human Forest ruins, directly east of the Church of the Pilgrimage, just sitting on a little stone pedestal. So both of these are out in the open, very easy to get. You can definitely get them pretty early within the game. And the very last thing that I want to go over before I let you guys go here is the incantations that we're using for this build. The first incantation is going to be Beast Claw. If anybody has ever fought a Vulgar Militia inside of Elden Ring, which I'm pretty sure everybody has, you've probably been hit by this incantation at least once. You dig your hand into the ground and then huge spikes shoot out in front of you. It does a really good amount of damage. If you can get the charge off, it does a lot more damage. So definitely be a little situational when you use this one. Also, the Bestial Sting. I like this because it's a very fast sling of rocks that shoots forward that can hit an enemy in rapid succession, which is really nice. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but you can cast it really quickly, so it's nice to have in this build. The next incantation is going to be the Stone of Garak. This is going to be your big damage dealer. You're going to hurl boulders at your enemy, and if you want to stagger them, you're in luck because this is going to stagger your enemies the majority of the time. If you're in long boss fights, you're definitely going to be staggering them at least once or twice. Also, it does a really good amount of damage to normal NPCs in the game, typically killing them in 1 to 2 throws. So definitely one of my favorite incantations for this build, but also one of my favorite incantations in this game. And for our 4th incantation, we're going to be using Garak's Beast Claw. This is a massive AoE that shoots claws and shockwaves surrounding you all over the place in all different directions. If you're surrounded at enemies, this does a really great job. And if you also are doing a boss fight, this can do a really good chunk of damage to bosses as well. And the last 3 incantations we're using are purely buff spells. The first is going to be the Flame Grant Me Strength spell, which is going to give you a 10% damage increase. We're also going to be using Bestial Vitality, which is going to heal you over time. And then last but not least, we're going to be using Golden Vow because all of these stack together. And Golden Vow is going to be giving us a 15% damage increase and damage negation of 10%. So we're going to take 10% less damage, and this stacks with everything else that we've been equipping so far. So these are the incantations that I've chosen, guys. As of right now, I'm going to go ahead and leave my stats on the screen so you can see exactly what I'm working with, how to stat properly, and how to get your stats the way I have mine on this build. I'll also leave the stat breakdown for 50 and 100 just so you guys can see how to level up with this build. This is a level 150 build. So guys, with that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate the heck out of every single one of you. I'm having a ton of fun making these videos for you guys, and I'm super glad that you're enjoying watching them. I am going to be continuing doing Elden Ring content and Tears of the Kingdom content over the next few months. So without further ado, guys, until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.